Picture this. 60,000 soldiers slam into a wall of silence. June 17, 1462. The Ottoman army halts, not because of a shield wall, but because they can't breathe. Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror rides forward and covers his mouth. Before him, stretching for 3 kilometers, 20,000 stakes pierce the sky. On every point, a body slides slowly toward the earth. High above the mass hangs General Hamza in his crimson silk robes, the highest stake for the highest rank. Mem turns his horse around. He cannot fight a man who does this. This is the true story of Vlad the Impaler, and it begins where most courage ends. To understand this carnage, look at the map. Wallachia was trapped between 2 crushing giants, the Ottoman Empire to the south and the Kingdom of Hungary to the north. For a Wallachian prince, neutrality was suicide. The year is 1442. Vlad Dracula, desperate to keep his throne, hands his 2 young sons to Ottoman guards as collateral. Radu is 7, Vlad is 11. As they're dragged away, their father rides back without looking. It's the moment that severs young Vlad's connection to humanity. The Ottoman fortress wasn't a dark dungeon. It was a gilded cage. The Sultan wanted brainwashed puppets who would rule in his name. The brothers split into 2 halves. Radu embraced Ottoman life, converting to Islam, becoming Radu the Handsome, perhaps even the Sultan's son's lover. Vlad became the problem child. He refused prayers, mocked guards, and paid in blood through the falaka. Feet secured in wooden blocks, beaten with rods until bones cracked. But amidst the beatings, he observed. He watched the Janissaries, kidnapped Christian children raised as fanatical warriors. He studied how the Ottomans used impalement to suppress uprisings, noting how terror silences crowds. He realized, a small nation can't fight with honor against a giant. It must fight with insanity. While Radu learned poetry, Vlad took mental notes on torture and terror. The Sultan thought he was breaking the boy. In reality, he was forging a weapon that would be turned against him. Vlad returns in 1448 expecting to find a kingdom mourning his father. Instead, he finds a crime scene. His father was assassinated by his own nobles, but his brother Mircha's fate truly broke something inside him. The Wallachian boyars captured Mircha, tortured him, then buried him alive. Imagine that death. Soil filling your mouth, weight crushing your chest, absolute darkness as you claw for mercy that never comes. Wallachia wasn't unified. It was a nest of vipers. The boyars had crowned and killed princes at will for a century. When Vlad finally seizes power in 1456, they see a 25-year-old washout. They believe he's weak because he's quiet. They are fatally wrong. Easter Sunday, 1457. 500 of Wallachia's most powerful nobles feast in Targovist's great hall, dressed in their finest, toasting their new prince. Vlad sits watching. At the feast's height, he raises his hand. The music stops. He asks a simple question. How many princes have you survived? Drunk and arrogant, they boast. 7, 12, 30. They think it's a game. To Vlad, it's a confession. Every prince they survived was one they betrayed or murdered. He gives a signal. Doors slam shut. Guards step forward. The older boyars are dragged out and impaled in the courtyard, their screams mixing with Easter church bells. The young and healthy are marched 50 miles to a remote cliff, still wearing their Easter finery, to build Poenary Castle as slave labor. They work until they drop, their velvet robes rotting to rags, noble hands stripped to raw bone. By the time the castle is finished, the old aristocracy has ceased to exist. The message is terrifyingly simple. There are no more boyars. There is only Dracula. Vlad turned his gaze to the streets, wanting a moral utopia through aggressive pruning. He placed a golden cup, encrusted with gems, on the public fountain in Targovist's central square. Anyone could use it, but it must never leave. In any other European city, that cup would vanish in minutes. In Targovist, it sat there for years, unguarded, glimmering in moonlight, a fortune no one dared touch. This was the paradox. He was a mass murderer, yet Wallachia became arguably the safest place in the known world. He'd replaced chaos with silence so profound it felt like the grave. War with the Sultan. By 1461, Vlad stopped paying tribute to the Sultan, 10,000 gold coins and 500 boys annually. Mehmed sent envoys. When they refused to remove their turbans, Vlad smiled and said, "I will help you strengthen your custom." He ordered iron nails hammered through the turbans into their skulls. then sent them back to Constantinople with a message, "I am not your slave." Spring 1462. Mehmed crosses the Danube with 60,000 men. Vlad has fewer than 30,000 peasants and light cavalry. He initiates total scorched earth, burning crops, poisoning wells with rotting flesh. He weaponizes the sick, dressing plague victims in Ottoman clothing to infiltrate enemy camps, spreading infection and paranoia. Then comes the night attack. Vlad leads a few thousand elite cavalry, dressed in Ottoman uniforms, speaking fluent Turkish. They drift past guards like smoke, driving straight toward the Sultan's tent. In the chaos, Vlad slaughters the high command but misses Mehmed by mere meters. As his men vanish, terrified Ottomans turn blades on each other, unable to distinguish friend from foe. Thousands die by their own comrades' hands. When Mehmed finally reaches Targovist, he finds the gates open and the road leading to the forest of the impaled. 20,000 stakes, a 3-kilometer gallery of corpses. The Sultan retreats. Vlad hadn't defeated the empire, just terrified it. He rode north expecting reinforcements from Hungary's King Matthias, who'd received papal gold for a crusade. Instead, he found chains. Matthias had embezzled the funds and needed a scapegoat. He arrested Vlad on forged treason charges and launched history's first smear campaign using the revolutionary printing press. German pamphlets spread across Europe with gruesome woodcuts, claiming Vlad dipped bread in blood and roasted children. While brutal, these stories were designed to destroy him, stripping away the calculating strategist and creating a raving monster. They were bestsellers. Vlad rotted in prison for 12 years while his brother Radu took the throne as an Ottoman puppet. By 1475, needing a monster to fight a monster, Matthias released Vlad. He retook the throne in November 1476, but his third reign lasted barely 2 months. In December, marching near Bucharest, he vanished into the fog of war. Some say Ottoman lance, others say his own soldiers assassinated him. The most tragic version: mistaken identity. His men didn't recognize him and struck him down, thinking he was Turkish. His head was hacked off, preserved in honey, and sent to Constantinople. Mehmed, who'd once turned his horse in terror, displayed it on a stake above the city gates. The Impaler was finally impaled. The immortal monster. That should have been the end. But 400 years later, in a London library, an Irish theater manager named Bram Stoker found a footnote about a prince named Dracula, son of the dragon. He knew nothing of the real history, just liked the name. In 1897, he combined it with German propaganda pamphlets, and the military strategist who fought to save Christian Europe became an aristocratic vampire who feared crucifixes. Today, Dracula is a Halloween costume in the West. But in Romania, Vlad is still revered by many as a hero, the Iron Prince who stood tall when everyone else knelt. The true horror isn't that he drank blood. He didn't. The horror is what he did do. He showed us that the line between hero and monster is often just perspective. He proved that sometimes, to defeat a nightmare, you have to become one. And perhaps that's why we're still talking about him 6 centuries later. We know the scariest things in the dark aren't vampires. They're men with absolute power and the will to use it. If you enjoyed this dark chapter of history, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter of the past.